Hi, yeah, I'm Paul Inside Info, and in this tutorial I'm going to run you through how to make pretty crazy, weird, twisted up bass sounds. Now there's 100 million different ways that you can go about doing this sort of stuff, but I'm just going to show you one of the ways that I would generally start by messing up a basic synthesizer patch that we make with a load of plugins and stuff like that, and just show you some of the little tricks that you can do as well. Now what I tend to do is when I'm making tracks, and if I get to a point where I'm a little bit stuck and I can't seem to come up with any new ideas, or I can't seem to get any new tracks going, I'll spend a few days or a day or whatever doing sound design. And what I tend to do is just record myself dicking around basically with sounds, and I capture everything with Sony Soundforge, and I've actually got this running at the moment to record everything that's coming out of the computer. So any little bits that we do and little sounds that happen as we're going along, the Soundforge will capture this, and then once I've finished I'll stop the recording and I'll go back to it 2-3 days later when I've got a completely fresh head and I'm detached from what I've just done, and pick out all the bits that sounded really cool, and then I'll bring those into the sampler or just chuck them straight into projects I'm working on and go from there basically. So let's start by opening up Cakewalk Zeta 2. This is a great synth. It's got loads of different oscillators, wave types, filters, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to sell it to you, but I like it. I really like it. It's cool. So I'm going to initialize it. I'm going to start with a very basic patch, and I'm going to add effects onto it, and then I'm going to go back to this and tweak it a little bit more and mess around. So if I just add... You know what? That'll do. I'm just going to have that at the moment. Simple. So let's just go and draw in a couple of notes. I'm not going to play them in because I can't play keyboard for shit. Let's have an F sharp. Should probably want it a bit lower. I'm going to stick with that note for the time being. And that'll do. Actually, I always save everything that I'm doing, like literally every 2 seconds. Oops. So now we've got that very, very simple sound. That's the tutorial done. I'm Paul Inside Info. See you later. No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. So we've got the output of Zeta here. I'm going to add some group channels. Let's add a sub channel, a mid channel, and a total channel. And I'm going to route the sub channel into the total channel, and the mid channel into the total channel as well. And I'm going to send this output of Zeta into the sub channel. Not going to send it directly, just send it as a send. And I'm going to send this into the mid channel. Like that. What I'm doing here is I'm dividing the sound up a bit. So when I start adding loads of crazy effects and stuff, I don't lose the actual low end sub, because that's important because we're making bass here. You can always add that with a sine wave or something like that later on if the sound's not fat enough, or you know, you've got a cool harmonic that needs a sub underneath it to make a bass line. But you know, I prefer to do it this way because it gels together quite nicely. So in the sub channel, I'm just going to add an EQ of Pro Q, which I use and pretty much everybody else uses on everything now. It's fantastic. And I'm also going to add a compressor. Doesn't matter what compressor you use. I'm going to use the Slate one. I just bought this, so might as well make good use of it. Here we go. And what that's done really is just flatten it out so that all the notes are roughly at the same level. Actually, it hasn't really done that, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to play any higher registers here, so that'll do for now. And I think actually we need to go lower with this sound because we're not really in the sub region, we're in the mid region. That's cool. About 40-ish hertz. So at the moment it just sounds completely crap. That's absolutely fine. But as you can see, we've boosted our sub a little bit. So we've got a mid-range channel. Now what I do here is create a series of effects which manipulate the sound, fan it up, saturate it, whatever. And I'm going to run you through some of the plugins which I use to do that.